This is Susan with Colorful Expressions. We made our journal. It's all nice and bound, and now it's time to decorate the cover. And it's looking a little bit grungy because of the glue that bled through the fabric. So first thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of paint to make it look like it's on purpose. I have this black metallic acrylic paint from Master's Touch from Hobby Lobby. They had a sale last time I went, and the sale's on this week too, the last week in January. And I'm going to add a little bit of water and take my sponge. I've got one of my little soy sauce dishes here. Just kind of soak it up here on the sponge. And I'm just going to kind of dab over, especially the white spots that come through. From the glue. I'm just kind of going to follow the spots that are on the fabric already. And I might even do a little bit of edging. And see, as it dries, you can see the metallic. This is very light, thin coat of acrylic paint, so it won't take long to dry at all. I don't want to cover up a lot of the red, so I'm just dabbing it on in places. Like I said, to make those spots that the glue caused, make them look a little more deliberate and less like a hot mess that it really is. But when it's done, nobody's gonna know, right? Let's open it up. This one's really crusty on the back. And my motto, when in doubt, cover it up with paint. This is just a round sponge that was cut into 4 pieces. I use these for stencils and for dabbing small amounts of paint. And the sponges themselves are dirt cheap by the bag at any craft supply place. I thought about gold, but I didn't want that high of a contrast. And if you see the paint too thick, just wipe it off a little bit. All right, let's do the edges all the way around. Finish those up. Oops. All right. see here. We might add a little bit of gold splatter at the very end. I don't know. Just kind of depends on what my cover looks like. And I have a rough idea, but nothing set in stone. All right, I'm going to set this aside while we build our... I'm going to set this aside to dry while we build our focal point. 2 minutes in the video and I'm already messy. Oh well. Okay. Now, I take a lot of selfies, put them up on Facebook. I do that so that I'm used to seeing myself in a photograph. And I took one of my selfies, and in my graphics program, I made myself into a silhouette. So this is me in all my lumpy glory. And I made myself a smaller paper doll out of myself. And I want to put myself on a background and then a frame around it. I have a couple of papers here that I pulled that are possibilities. And then this is just a slightly thicker piece of paper that I'll use as a backing. I'm not going to use this as a decorative. It'll just be for strength. And I kind of want a music background. I really like the musical notes. And so I think that's where I'll start. There's also this crazy thing, but I think the silhouette gets too lost. Looks a little psychedelic, but I could frame it with that. Frame the musical notes with that. So, first job is to glue myself down. You know, you often see figures and faces used in art journal, but they're always like skinny 20-something or fairies, or, you know, they're hardly ever self-portraits. And I don't see the point in having some sort of young, skinny silhouette that I have no connection to. And I certainly, even when I was young, was never shaped like that. I was thinner than I am now, but I've always been a little on the curvier side. This song is Night of the Grail, which is cool. I'm going to try and keep that line. I want to keep, let's see here. So that's the first layer. Also, the journal is going to have a theme. I rarely do this, but I did pick a word of the year because of everything I went through. My word of the year is renewal. And so some of my spreads are going to have that theme in them. All right, I would like to have a little bit of a frame. But I think I want a black frame. I have some cool iridescent purple construction paper. This was the back of a stamping practice that had some iridescent inks. And this is a little bit dirty. This is out of my bin of ephemera. It has the most surprising stuff in it, actually. And I just started junk journaling, but I've been collecting for it, it seems like, all my life. All right. And I'll go cut this out. Then we'll glue this down within the frame. This is also sturdier cardstock, so we probably won't need this little piece of paper here. So the iridescent kind of disappears on the black. You can't see it very well against the fabric. So we need another layer of something. Something paler. I think this will work. Also, this paper will soak up the glue really well when we glue it onto the book cover. The text is upside down, which is good, actually. You don't want to really need to be able to read it. Where's my... It's gonna... We've got some rain coming in next couple of days. And I'm going to make some fodder videos for you because we need to fill up this 20-page journal. We have the Defember fodder already, but I like the layers and I like the colors. I think they go well on the cover. The more I think about and work on this journal, the more it becomes very personal to me. And I also want to, I'm going to make the edges a little bit dark with this metallic paint. Just to help it go with the background and give it more definition. All right, I'll be back in a sec while I clean this out. I pulled this piece out and I really wish I could use it. It may show up later. I may use it yet. So now we are going to glue this down. I'm going to use my acrylic paint is still wet. We're going to glue this down in a minute. My acrylic paint is still wet. So I'll be back and be ready to put on my front piece. The cover is dry. And I'm going to use my clear gel tacky glue to glue the piece down and then put it underneath the book to press it down and let it dry. First, however, I'm going to go ahead and put this piece on a little bit stiffer paper and make it slightly smaller so that that white's not peeking out and I don't have to get my paint out again. Whoops. Sorry about that. I hit my phone. Okay. I've actually never art journaled before as far as having a book and write in it. I journal with writing all the time. Whoops, this way. But I've never used junk journal to write down my memories. When I art journal, it's always been very just pictures, no words, no phrases. I don't write in it. I don't know why. And I'm going to try and have myself journal more in the traditional sense. Art journal with words and with phrases. I might just start with a bunch of quotes because that's my comfort zone. Let's see, is this the front? This is the front. We'll see. We'll see how this journal develops. It's already getting a mind of its own. There we go. I like it. And I'm starting with the word of the year, renewal. I even have a graphic of a phoenix, the, the bird rising out of the flames. That may be a little bit dramatic for my last year, but why not? It's my book. I can be dramatic, right? And already I think this year is a little bit better, even though it's without my husband. Stress-wise, it's better, even though I don't have a job yet, but I've applied for one that I really would like. Okay. Let's make sure this is where I want it to be. You need a lot of glue when you've got such an irregular surface. There's a little bit of paper peeking out. We'll fix that with some paint. All right, I need some wax paper. Always got wax paper nearby. You usually need it in a hurry. And then we'll press it down with our trusty giant dictionary. All right, I'm gonna let it dry and then be back and decorate some more. It's the next day, and this took forever to dry. That glue was very thick. It's the next day, and I'm going to touch up with some glue and do something with the spine. I'm not sure. It's mostly done. I'm going to keep it fairly simple. I might add to it later. As the journal grows, I might add to it later. I don't like a lot of dangling things, but I do have all of these beads that came off of the pillow. And I wonder if I can at least decorate the spine with them a little bit. I don't want to put the beads along here because when you open it, it'll be setting on the beads, but maybe across the top and across the bottom. I don't want it across the entire journal. I also, for some reason, there's a white spot here. I'm going to just take a spot of, good Lord. Nothing's ever simple. Nah, heck with it. If your paint gets all gunked up, just unscrew the top. Tiny spot of gold and rub that over the white spot. And let's add it in a couple other places just so it looks like it's deliberate. There is some gold on that paper already. There we go. My my paint tubes get really gunked up when I do gel printing because I just work quick and it makes a mess. I make a mess. So let's see if there's a way we can figure out how to use these beads. They are on a satin ribbon and they've got a ton of that silk all over. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how I'm gonna. Oh, well, never mind. It's coming unraveled. That'll work. Let's see if we can get some of this off of here. Where did I put my seam ripper? I know I had it in here, but since it didn't work, I don't know where it went. There we go. I don't care if I cut into the dark red. It's the satin ribbon we need to keep in place because that's where the beads are sewn onto. All right. And that satin won't well, it might. It'll unravel as well. So we'll have to glue it down. I have no idea where my embroidery scissors are, or I'd be using them. I haven't done any fiber arts in a long time. So all of my good stuff, other than my good sewing shears, I have no idea where they are. I did box up a ton of my sewing machine supplies into boxes, and they're sitting in a big chest of mine in the living room. Haven't done any sewing in a very long time. I gave away my dress dummy because even when I was sewing, I didn't use it very much. All right. So maybe right across there. There we go, corner to corner. So I'm going to cut it right before this. And trim the edge just a little bit. I'm going to cover it with glue, so that'll keep it down. And this is going to be another goopy mess. I also got a new vlog camera. I haven't had a chance to set it up or test it out yet, but my next video will be using it. I didn't want to delay this video any further while I figured it out, and I didn't want to figure it out in a hurry. So I went ahead and went forward with finishing this video. Ooh, that's goopy. That's all right, though. And we'll do the same for the bottom. Let's set that aside. Let's get some more beads on the subject. You don't know how much this fuzzy stuff's bugging me. You would think, since I live with cat hair day in and day out, that I would be used to this kind of stuff. But I actually don't like cat hair everywhere. It's just what happens when you've got 3 cats. One of them very old that sheds like crazy. Okay, I've got a missing one, so I'm going to cut that here to start it. And see how much I need. One, two, three, four, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 beads per side, just like the top. It's a cold, rainy day today. I've got some pork stew in the crock pot. I wanted beef stew, but I didn't have any beef. And so I did have 2 pork loins. Come on. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, right there. So I thawed them out and made pork. Made pork stew instead. Found a recipe on Pinterest. Oh, there is 6. Oh, I'm an idiot. I can't count. All right. Oh, well. 1, 2. There's 6 here too. No, 5. And this uses the other part of that pillow because these beads came from around it. So the fabric. That was a good $2 spent to get a journal out of it. And I have some extra red fabric too, which I could use inside or on other projects. Man, that glue is sticky. It's called tacky for a reason. All right, let's get this stuff on here. All right, and the glue will also keep it from unraveling because it doesn't have a selvage at the top for some reason, or it's been, I probably nicked it in a few places when I was uncutting. So we've got beads. We've got the cover, which is me. And I want to put a message on here, but I'm not sure if I want it on the cover or on the inside, although I guess I could do both. And this is going to need to be glued down a little more. Or I could just trim it. Let's trim it. There. Okay. Let's find my safety pin. Put this back. I have a box that has my very few trims and a couple of pieces of fabric. I don't have any lace other than one piece that is in form of a woman's head, and it looks really cool. I like my lace bookmark I made. I don't want the lady's head to be destroyed, so I may just make a copy of it and use the image. Okay. I've been contemplating whether I want to cover this front piece in gesso or just leave it. For now, I'm going to leave it. If it gets really cruddy and marked up, then I'll fill in with black marker or black paint and then gesso it, my silhouette. I don't want it to get messed up. And here is the finished junk journal cover. I think I'm going to put the sentiment on the inside on the front page, because that will be a good welcome to the journal. I think it's a phrase from a song, and it's a little bit too long to put on the cover. So this is my decorated junk journal, my first one. Next week, we will go through our Defemember ephemera and start putting in some belly bands, some tuck spots maybe, and personalizing it and making a page. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next week.